Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Learner Podcast. I'm Anna and I'm here with Tom, and we're really happy you're listening today, especially if you're on your way to work, already at your desk, or maybe taking a short break.
Hi everyone, this is Tom, and yes, today's topic is something we all experience almost every day. We're talking about English in daily life at work, which is such a useful and realistic topic.
Absolutely, because work is where we use English in very natural ways, sometimes without even realizing it, like greeting coworkers in the morning, checking emails, joining meetings, or just having short conversations in the hallway or near the coffee machine.
That's so true. And before we really get into it, we just want to say if you enjoy these real-life conversations and want to improve your English naturally, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep learning with us every time a new episode comes out.
Yes, subscribing really helps you practice listening and speaking, and it also keeps you connected with everyday English, not textbook English, but the kind you hear and use at work.
So let's imagine a normal work day. It usually starts in the morning when you arrive at work. Maybe you say something simple like, "Good morning," or "How are you today?" And even these short greetings are important because they help build friendly relationships.
Exactly. And sometimes those greetings turn into small conversations, like talking about the weather, traffic, how busy the day might be, or even how tired you feel. And these small talks are actually a big part of workplace communication.
And then you might sit down at your desk, open your computer, check emails, read messages from your boss or coworkers, and reply with simple, polite English, saying things like, "I'll look into this. Thanks for the update," or "I'll get back to you soon."
I do that all the time. And sometimes I have to plan my tasks for the day, make a to-do list, check deadlines, and maybe send a message to a colleague to ask for help or clarification.
Yes, asking questions at work is very common, like asking about a task, a schedule, or a meeting time, and using clear, polite English makes everything smoother and less stressful.
Meetings are another big part of work life, whether they are online or in person. And during meetings, we listen, share ideas, agree, disagree politely, and sometimes just say short things like, "I agree," "That sounds good," or "Can you explain that again?"
And even when you're not speaking much in a meeting, you're still practicing English by listening, understanding different accents, and following the conversation, which is really valuable practice.
During the day, we also talk to coworkers about work tasks, projects, progress, and sometimes problems, like explaining an issue, asking for suggestions, or updating someone on what you finished.
Yes, and those conversations can happen anywhere, at your desk, in the hallway, during a coffee break, or even while walking to another office, and they're usually very natural and informal.
Coffee breaks are actually one of my favorite moments at work because they're more relaxed and people often talk about food, plans for the weekend, hobbies, or how their morning is going.
I agree. Those casual conversations help you feel comfortable speaking English without pressure, and they help build confidence because you're not worried about being perfect.
And sometimes work can be busy or stressful, so we also use English to express feelings, like saying, "I'm a bit busy today. This task is challenging," or "I need a little more time."
That's an important point, because communicating clearly about your workload helps others understand you and support you better.
Throughout the day, we switch between listening, speaking, reading, and writing in English, often without even thinking about it. And that's why work is such a powerful place to improve your language skills.
Exactly. And the more you notice these moments, the more confident you become, because you realize you're already using English in real life, not just studying it.
As the day goes on, there are so many small moments where English comes naturally, like when someone stops by your desk to ask a question, or when you need to send a quick email or message about a project, and even those little exchanges add up over time.
Yes, those short moments are really valuable because you're practicing listening, speaking, and writing without even realizing it.
And sometimes I find myself multitasking, checking emails while finishing a task, and I realize I'm reading, thinking, and writing in English at the same time.
That's exactly how you start getting used to real-life English, because you're not translating everything in your head, you just react naturally.
Sometimes a colleague explains something really fast, and I have to ask them to slow down or repeat it, and usually they're very understanding and patient.
Asking for clarification is completely normal, and it actually shows that you're paying attention and care about doing things correctly.
Meetings are another big part of the day. Sometimes I just listen quietly, sometimes I share a short idea or ask a question, and every time I speak, I feel my confidence grow a little.
Even just saying, "I agree," or "Can you explain that again?" is useful because it shows engagement and helps you get comfortable with speaking in English.
I also notice that workplace conversations often follow predictable patterns, like greeting, talking about a task, asking questions, and finishing with a polite ending. Once you notice the patterns, it becomes much easier to follow and participate.
Exactly. Even hallway conversations or coffee breaks follow patterns, and that repetition makes learning feel natural.
Speaking of coffee breaks, they are one of my favorite parts of the day. Casual chats about weekend plans, hobbies, food, or even just the weather are such simple ways to practice English.
Yes, and those moments are so important for building connections and confidence because no one is judging grammar, it's just conversation.
And sometimes you combine those conversations with small tasks. For example, you might make a cup of coffee while chatting or organize your desk while telling a coworker about your weekend.
That's a great point. Multitasking like that helps you feel productive and relaxed at the same time.
Then there are moments when you need to ask for help or explain a problem, like a task is confusing or you don't have enough information. Even simple sentences like, "Could you clarify this?" or "I'm having trouble with this part" are so useful.
Exactly. And learning to express challenges politely and clearly is one of the most important English skills at work.
Some days I also notice humor appears. Jokes, light teasing, funny comments, and understanding or making a joke in English feels like a big achievement.
I know what you mean. Humor is tricky in a new language, but even small successes make you feel more confident and connected with coworkers.
During the afternoon, people often check progress, adjust plans, or prepare for the next steps, and those short conversations are valuable practice because they're real, meaningful, and repeated often.
Yes, repetition is key. The same vocabulary or phrases come up again and again, and each time it feels easier to use.
Sometimes the day gets busy and I notice my energy drops, but simple English still works perfectly. Short sentences, polite requests, and clear updates are enough.
That's important for learners to realize. English doesn't have to be fancy to be effective. Clarity is what matters.
And there are also times when you have to plan ahead for meetings, tasks, or projects, and writing short notes or emails in English becomes practice too.
Right. Even making a to-do list in English or sending a quick schedule update helps you internalize vocabulary naturally.
Another thing is that listening is just as important as speaking. Even when I'm reading reports, watching instructions, or following a meeting, my English is improving quietly.
Absolutely. Sometimes listening carefully is the hardest part, but it's so effective. You notice expressions, tone, and natural ways people communicate.
Then there are those moments when you work with someone on a project and you have to explain what you've done or give a short demonstration. Speaking clearly, even with simple words, builds confidence.
Yes, and small accomplishments feel huge in English, like finishing a task and explaining it to your team.
Even the moments of waiting, like waiting for feedback, a response, or instructions, are useful. You read documents, double-check emails, or plan your next task all in English.
Exactly. Every small action counts. Even checking a message carefully and understanding it correctly is learning.
I also like that at work you're exposed to different accents and styles of speaking, which can be challenging at first but extremely helpful over time.
And once you get used to it, you can follow conversations more easily and even pick up subtle phrases or expressions that aren't in textbooks.
Mistakes happen, of course, but usually communication keeps going and people are understanding. That's a huge confidence boost.
Yes, I've realized mistakes are part of learning. They don't stop communication, and often people don't even notice them.
By the late afternoon, energy might be low, but conversations still happen, updates still need to be given, and every interaction is another opportunity to use English.
And even tired English still works. Short, clear, polite sentences get the job done.
By the time the day ends, I feel tired but also satisfied because I've used English in so many ways: emails, messages, calls, meetings, casual chats, and even reading and listening.
That feeling of accomplishment is so motivating because it shows progress without formal study.
And the best part is, day by day, you become more familiar with English at work, more confident, and more able to participate naturally.
It's a quiet, steady improvement, and once you notice it, it changes how you feel about using English in real life.
Work really is a perfect environment for learning English because everything you do involves it, and each day gives you countless small opportunities.
Step by step, conversation by conversation, confidence builds, vocabulary grows, and before you know it, English feels like a natural part of your workday.
You know, the afternoon at work is always interesting because it's that mix of finishing tasks, checking progress, and sometimes preparing for the next day. And all of that involves English naturally without even thinking about it.
Exactly, like when you're sending updates to a manager or coworker. Even short sentences like, "I've finished this part," or "I need a little more time," are perfectly normal, and they practice real-life English.
And sometimes coworkers stop by to ask small questions like, "Do you have a minute?" or "Can you help me with this?" And it's great practice because you have to listen, understand, and respond politely but quickly.
I know that feeling. It's a little challenging at first, but after a few times, you start answering naturally, and you don't think too much about grammar.
There's also a lot of teamwork in the afternoon, discussing projects, sharing ideas, brainstorming solutions, and even disagreeing politely when necessary. Those conversations teach you new words and expressions without a lesson.
And you start noticing patterns in communication, like how people suggest ideas with phrases like, "maybe we could," or "what if we try," and how they give feedback politely with, "I think it might work better if..."
Meetings are another big part of this time, sometimes short, sometimes long. I like listening carefully, taking notes, and then contributing one or two sentences like, "I agree with that point," or "I have a question about this step."
And sometimes just asking a clarification question like, "Could you explain this again?" or "Do you mean this part?" is enough to feel engaged and confident.
The great thing about work English is that it's functional. You don't need fancy words, just clear, polite, natural phrases. And over time, you see yourself improving just by doing your job.
Yes, and even emails are practice. You check, read, and write replies that are short but meaningful, like, "Thanks for the update. I'll send it by the end of the day," or "Please let me know if you need anything else."
And when a new project comes up, the conversations change slightly, so you keep learning new words or phrases, and it feels like a mix of repetition and challenge, which is perfect for learning.
Exactly, and every interaction, even a small one, helps build confidence.
I also noticed that breaks in the afternoon are helpful. Even 5 minutes to stretch, grab a drink, or chat about something light can be in English and still count as practice.
And sometimes those casual chats are really fun, like joking about something funny that happened in a meeting, or talking about lunch, hobbies, or plans for the weekend.
Humor is a big part of learning too. Understanding jokes or even making a small playful comment shows that you're getting comfortable with the language.
I agree, and it also makes work more enjoyable. English stops being a challenge and becomes a tool to connect with people.
Towards the late afternoon, energy might be lower, but communication continues. Checking what's finished, giving updates, sending reminders, and all of that is another chance to practice real English.
And even when you're tired, simple English still works perfectly. Polite, short, clear phrases are enough.
And by the end of the day, all these small interactions add up. You realize you've been using English constantly, writing emails, chatting with coworkers, asking questions, participating in meetings, listening, and even observing how others speak.
That's one of the best things about learning English at work. You don't need extra study time. Every small action counts.
Exactly. And you start noticing subtle improvements, like understanding instructions faster, replying without hesitation, or catching a joke in English.
Those little victories build confidence, and confidence is what helps you keep using English naturally.
I also notice that I reflect at the end of the day, thinking about what went well, what I learned, and what I can try differently tomorrow. It feels like the day wasn't just work, it was also learning English in a meaningful, real way.
And that reflection itself becomes practice, because you might write notes or mentally go over new phrases, vocabulary, or expressions you use during the day.
It really shows that English is not just something you study, it's something you live, especially at work, where every conversation, message, or meeting is part of real life.
And by the late afternoon, I often notice how all the little interactions throughout the day really add up. Even if it felt busy or stressful, I realize I've used English so many times, sending emails, chatting with coworkers, joining meetings, asking questions, reading instructions, and even checking documents quietly at my desk.
Exactly. It's amazing how those small moments build your confidence without you even noticing it. Sometimes I'm surprised at how easily I can explain something in English that used to feel difficult in the morning.
And the best part is that work English isn't about being perfect. It's about getting things done. Short, clear, polite phrases often work better than perfect grammar, and that's such a relief when you're tired at the end of the day.
I totally agree. Reflecting on the day helps too. I like thinking about what went well, what I learned, and even small mistakes I can fix tomorrow. That reflection feels like extra practice without leaving my desk.
Yes, and sometimes I make little notes, like a new vocabulary word or a phrase I heard in a meeting, and then I try to use it again the next day. Over time, those little notes really add up and become part of your natural language.
Another thing I enjoy is noticing patterns in conversations, how people suggest ideas politely, how they respond to questions, or even how they add small comments like, sounds good, or let me know. Understanding these patterns helps you feel more comfortable and confident.
And even when the day is long or tiring, casual interactions like a quick joke by the coffee machine, a friendly good job, or a see you tomorrow make the workday enjoyable and give you chances to practice English naturally.
Exactly. Work English is a mix of serious tasks and fun moments, and both are important. Serious conversations teach you precision and clarity, while casual conversations build confidence and social skills.
And when you look back at the day, all these little interactions, emails, meetings, messages, casual chats, reflections, and small daily tasks combine to create a real, practical English learning experience.
For our listeners, the key takeaway is that every day at work offers countless opportunities to practice English. You don't need a special lesson. Just pay attention, participate, and use English naturally in all the small ways.
Yes, and don't worry about being perfect. Mistakes are normal. Clarity is enough, and every interaction helps you improve. Confidence is what matters most.
Think about your own day. Even sending a short message, asking a question, responding in a meeting, or reading instructions in English, all of that counts as practice, and over time, it makes a huge difference.
Exactly. And even small achievements matter, like finishing a report and explaining it to your manager, or helping a coworker with a problem. Those moments reinforce your skills and your confidence.
And sometimes simply observing how others communicate, how they phrase sentences, how they politely disagree, or even how they joke can teach you things that textbooks never will.
Yes, learning by observation is huge. You notice tone, word choice, timing, and subtle expressions that make your English feel more natural.
And then there's planning for the next day, writing a short to-do list, sending a reminder, or preparing documents. Even these small tasks involve English and help you practice.
That's right. Work days are full of tiny learning moments. Each interaction, each task, each reflection is a chance to practice and grow.
And the beauty of it is that it all happens naturally. You're not forcing yourself to learn. It's happening while you do your job. Step by step, conversation by conversation, you become more comfortable, more confident, and more fluent.
And when you look back at your progress, it's so motivating. You realize that even without formal lessons, your English has improved because you've been using it in real-life situations.
For everyone listening, remember that using English at work doesn't have to be stressful. Pay attention to the small moments, take part in conversations, ask questions, and don't worry about mistakes. Every interaction counts.
Exactly. English at work is about communication, connection, and learning naturally. Each day, your skills grow without even realizing it.
And before we finish, we want to remind you to subscribe to the English Learner podcast so you can continue joining us for natural conversations and practical English you can use every day.
Yes, subscribing helps you stay connected, practice regularly, and get inspired by real-life situations. Every episode is an opportunity to improve your English naturally.
Thank you so much for spending your workday with us today. We hope this conversation gives you ideas and confidence to use English in every part of your job.
Keep noticing, keep practicing, and make your workday not just productive, but also a learning experience. Every email, chat, and meeting is a chance to grow.
See you next time, and remember, small steps every day make a big difference. Enjoy your work, enjoy your English, and enjoy the little victories in each day.
Bye for now, and remember, using English at work can be easy, fun, and meaningful. You just need to pay attention to the little moments.